Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Aungelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hello, mothers and daughters. Today, on July the 13th, we celebrate 713. You know, I rehearsed this and thought it was going to come out right. But now that I look at it, it looks crazy. So let's fix it. 713. So in Houston, Texas, there is a 713. There is a 713 day, and that is the original area code of the city. So I went out and I got some balloons because I was just like, it's something exciting to celebrate because I happen to be one of those native Houstonians that, remember that scene, for those of you who used to watch Sex and the City, remember that scene when Carrie and Big broke up because he stood her up at the wedding and she threw the phone into the ocean, but her phone number was the last area code in New York, and that like solidified that you are a real New York person. That's how I feel about my 713 phone number. My phone number, I just told my daughter Paiton about maybe about a few weeks ago. I said, I've had that same 713 phone number for like 26 years. And she's like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, I'm never going to give up my 713 phone number because it doesn't make sense for me to do that. I like having a phone number. It's kind of like people from Miami, 305. It's like that is the number that's in all the songs. 713 being the original zip code in Houston, that's in all the songs. But I really just want to tell you, for celebrating 713, and I hope that you do go out and do something, even if it's just eat at a great restaurant, or for the ones who like to go out at night if there's like a concert or something going on. But one thing that excites me about 713, aka the city of Houston, is that we are such a melting pot. When I say a melting pot, I mean like I go to some states and meet some people and they are just shocked with other cultures because possibly they haven't traveled, or possibly they haven't really met other people because they stay in their zip code of where they live and they don't go anywhere. They go work, church, home. If they have kids, they are involved in those activities. But as far as like getting on an airplane to go somewhere, going to another country, getting a passport even, they're not going to do it. So what I love about Houston being such a melting pot is that I've never been shocked at any culture, never been shocked for any race, never been shocked with interracial anything, never been shocked with meeting anybody from any other country. As a matter of fact, when I meet people from other countries that I'm not familiar with, I ask questions like, tell me this and tell me about your tradition, and let's talk about food for real. And then talk about some of like the popular cities that tourists go to in their area. Because one thing about me, if I do go to a foreign country, I am going to go to the tourist area. And the reason I'm going to go to that area is because you're going to see more Americans there. You'll have more American food. I don't know if I ever told y'all this story, but in 2016, when I went to Indonesia, so I went to Jakarta, Indonesia, and that was the first time in my entire life that I really thought I was going to starve. Like, for real, for real. I'm picky about food, and if I don't know what animal it is, I wasn't going to eat it back then. If I like, there's just certain things that I don't care if it ain't an animal. I don't care if it's rice, but it don't look right, I'm not going to eat it. And one day I got so hungry, I said, oh my God, I need to find the American Mall. So I went downstairs to the hotel concierge and I said, I need to get a taxi and go to the American Mall. How far? He said, oh, it's like 5 minutes. I was like, okay. I got to the American Mall and it was like, yes, I'm coming here every day to eat. I couldn't eat the food in the hotel or go to any of the restaurants or anything like that because it was just too different for me. You'll try things like here and there, but not too much. But I found the American Mall, and when I got there, they had fresh smoothies and fish and shrimp and just stuff that I would like. I look at a menu and I'm like, I know what that is. I'm in the American Mall. There's tons of things to eat. So I ended up going to the American Mall and getting fruit and all that stuff, bringing it back to my room. But anyway, that's what's exciting to me about 713 Day for me personally. Now, for a lot of people, 713 Day for them is just celebrating the fact that they live in Houston, that they are Houstonian, that they are native to Houston, or just the fact that they like the way, the city puts on all types of events, because we do have a lot of events. I mean, if you go like to the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston and you just go and look, there's always something going on. If you look at the Toyota Center, there's always something going on. If you look at the NRG Center, there's always something going on. If you look at all the clubs, there is always something going on in Houston. And people will call and ask me, hey, I'm going to be in Houston for a little while. Can you tell me what there is to do? And I go, well, are you going to be in Houston or are you going to venture out? And they're like, well, we're going to be there just in Houston. And I'm like, okay, let's start with the food first. Okay, if you like museums, we can talk about that. If you like, just depends on what they like to do. I can tell them what they like to do, what they can go and do. Like I had somebody ask me, they were coming to Houston, she's in real estate. And she was like, I would like to see some of the most expensive homes that you have there. So I gave her a list of the top 5 most expensive homes in Houston and that zip code. And she actually went over there and did a tour of a few of those homes. And she was just enamored with one of them. She went in, was like 30,000 square foot. And she was like, girl, have you ever been in there? I'm like, yeah, we do crazy stuff like that. Go tour, homes just to see. And the people who own that home don't even live there. They live in a whole nother country. The home is just owned by them. It's in their company name and all that stuff. So, they got all kind of things going on. But anyway, the other thing that I love about being a native Houstonian is that we are one of the largest cities. So before 2020 and, about 2020, before 2020, we were literally, I believe, number either 2 or 4 on the list. No, we were number 4 on the list back in 2013. Fortunately, I think we were like number 2. So I love the fact that we are in the top 5 of largest cities. The reason I like that is because that's a great telltale sign right there that you're going to get to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of businesses. There's a lot of networking going on. There's a lot of restaurants. There's a lot of surrounding suburb areas. There's a lot going on within the city when you are on that largest list of cities up there with your New Yorks and all of those type of places. The other thing I can tell you about, being from Houston is that we have all these different languages. I remember when my kids were in school and they were younger, maybe like elementary or middle school, they had built a school across from their elementary school to cover all of the languages that we did not know in Houston. And I think they said they had over 19 other languages that nobody else could speak, and that they brought in specialists from other countries and stuff, hired people just to speak those languages. And I know it's true because one time I was in Puerto Rico getting ready to go on a cruise, and my mom came with me, and we were in the particular hotel. And in that hotel, they people from America. Well, it is a part of America, but I mean people from Houston and other places in Louisiana and other places where they're doing a job fair for people that lived in Puerto Rico, because they wanted them to come over and be able to speak Spanish and all that kind of stuff in the different schools. So I know that people here in Houston, probably school districts and stuff, they get together and they go to other places, other either countries or other territories, and they hire people because we need the language barrier to not be so thick. The other thing, let me just talk about food. We literally have the best Tex-Mex you're ever gonna taste. Me, for example, when I go to Mexico, I have to be very, very careful with what kind of food I eat, because I can't eat their authentic, traditional Mexican food because it gives me heartburn. It's all the spices and all the things that they put in it that just literally, I don't care if it's midday or especially not nighttime. I mean, I will just, it just gives me so much heartburn. I don't care what time of day I eat it. But before I finish this sentence, I want to try this 713. Okay, I'm gonna turn it this way. 7, 1, and then 3. No, 3 over there. So 713. So it looks backwards. It looks backwards on the computer. but you get what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying. So each one of these balloons actually has like a little stick on them. I love these balloons. If you ever want to get some for a party, you can get them at Dollar Tree, and they're, well, listen, $1.25 tree. But these are so cool. I love these balloons. Whenever we're celebrating something, we always get these balloons. I remember when Angie turned 28, we gotten her some balloons, but this is our 713 balloons. As you can see them, it's gonna look backwards on your camera. I'm gonna go ahead and put them up and leave them in the office just to celebrate actually the whole week. You know, last year we had our podcast going on, and we did actually a show on 713. We did a show on 713, and it was the first time that we were able to actually publicly celebrate it, because you know we've been locked down for a couple of years, so we didn't really get to celebrate. I'm sure some people did privately celebrate it for those clubs that were, you know, kind of open behind the scenes or whatever. But let's talk about food in Houston. One thing about 713 is that you're going to find every kind of restaurant you can think of. You're going to find Caribbean restaurants, Tex-Mex restaurants, Italian food restaurants. My favorite is Maggiano's, and the girls now love Maggiano. We don't love the price that much, but we know quality food when we eat it. And so we treat ourselves every now and then. You're going to find the best Korean food. You're going to find the best Asian food, the best Chinese restaurants. You're going to find, and when I say the best, I mean really a variety. So there's not like just one. There's multiple types. Like I could just go off and tell you 10 Mexican restaurants right now that I love. And there's one that I found that serves my crispy tacos exactly the way I like them. And then I tasted their nacho, and I was like, oh my goodness. So now every time I go to an appointment and I have to go that way, I stop at that taco place. But we have some of the best dessert places here. It doesn't matter if it's cookies or cake or cupcakes or homemade tea cakes or whatever. We have some of the best of that here. We have some of the best Jamaican restaurants. The girls have been trying African food, so they've been eating egusi and fufu. And listen, they brought some back to me, and I tasted it. And I don't necessarily like the spices and everything that they used on it, but I'm not trying to be funny, but when I ate the egusi with the fufu, I felt like a root grew up in me, and I didn't like the way that felt. That taste stayed on my hand for a whole day. And the taste, even now when I think about the taste, I go like I didn't like it. It was very strong. It was very, I don't know if it was the curry on. I don't know what it was, but I could not do it. But they seemed to love it. I mean, they sat there and sucked it up and ate it up, left my tablecloth all full of all of that stuff on there. And I was just like, really? Y'all couldn't have put a plastic bag under this? But anyway, so food, you're never gonna have a problem. The best sandwiches, best soups, you're not gonna run out of places to be able to go. And if you've been watching our show, you see on Saturdays, we mostly try out different food places. And we don't always try the food place. We might do a market or something like that, but we love to go to different restaurants to just kind of show you what type of restaurants we have, because we just have such delicious food here in Houston. Now, when I go to other places, that's one thing I do is I put a list together to try to see what kind of food they have. Sometimes it's easy to find and sometimes it's not. You have to go and read all the reviews and see what everybody else is talking about, ask a few questions to some people who live there and all that. So it's not as easy, but in Houston, if you call me and say, hey, I'm coming to Houston, give me your top 5 Mexican restaurants, I'm going to give you a list, or tell me what Italian restaurants are good, or hey, what's going on in the Galleria, things like that. The other thing I love about Houston is it's so funny how people visit here and they say, oh, y'all have 3 downtowns. And I'm like, what you mean by 3 downtowns? So they look at our Galleria area as a downtown, our regular real downtown as downtown, and then they look at our Methodist hospital area as a downtown. So they look at parts of downtown Fannin, where the medical center is parts of the residuals of downtown, but it's not its own other town. There's no skyscrapers and stuff over there. I consider a downtown where you see the skyscrapers and the buildings, and we do still have a few down there, not a whole lot, but some of them are now high rises and penthouses and things like that, where they've taken old oil company places and turn them into penthouses, and they're building all kinds of things downtown. But I only look at us having one downtown. And I will tell you, if you come to Houston and you're the type of person or type of traveler who likes to kind of stay downtown, I would say stay downtown, but make sure you visit the tunnels under there. Make sure you look at all the restaurants that are underground. Make sure you check out quite a few. There's some grocery stores and stuff down there. Make sure you check out the parks. If you're gonna go downtown, you'll be close to Discovery Green. Check out things over there. There's a lot of photo opportunities and ice cream places and just really great opportunities. Free yoga on Saturday sometime in the yard over there at Discovery Green. Then you're close to some other things that you can see, the museum district and all kinds of things like that, depending on, again, what your taste is. I know if I'm going to a city, I'm looking for things like selfie museums. I'm looking for food. Of course, I'm looking for their downtown area, especially if it's a little small town. I always like to look for the old town downtown, because that's where you'll find a lot of goodness there. But, happy 713 day. If you have ever been to Houston or planning on coming, what a better time to come than to be here today on July the 13th of 713. And that's funny how it's July is the 7th month and then the 1-3 for the 13th. So I like how they kind of did that. So, I can imagine that 305 probably is March the 5th. So, because, 3 and then 05. So I looked at all of that and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. So like, if somebody's area code is 619, so on June the 19th, they would celebrate their day. So I would like to thank whoever came up with the 713 celebration to commemorate the 713 area code. I would like to thank you for doing that, because I think that's very unique. It gives me a time to celebrate. And again, like I told my daughter, I'm not getting rid of my 713 number. I will keep that number until they say that number don't ring anymore. And why would it not ring? So my work number is 832. I used to have a landline that was 281, because we got 713, 281, 832, and 346. I would not be caught stranded with a 346 area code. I would rather not have a phone. I don't like that area code. When it comes up in my phone, because one of my daughters has it, I'd be like, ew. I know that's weird, but ew. At some point, all of my kids had a 713 number, and they, how kids change numbers all the time and they don't even care. But I have noticed lately that they are starting to recycle some of those 713 numbers. So now they start asking you, do you want 713, 281, 832, or 346? I can't even figure out the person that would say, oh, give me the 346. Like, who is that person? I don't know them. The other thing I wanted to also say about 713 is we have some of the best shopping here. I'm not talking about the Galleria. The Galleria is for those who like name brand stuff and all the hoopla about that. Maybe they want to go there because the celebrities hang out there, like your Drakes and your whoever else, Young Thug, whoever come to Houston, they hang out over there. I'm not talking about the Galleria. I'm talking about just other offhand shopping type of things. I'm talking like flea markets. I'm talking like markets and vendors and things like that. I'm talking about, we have a lot of Old Town, like we have Old Town Katy, Old Town Spring, Old Town Sugarland. We have all these little old town places where you can get very unique things from. The other thing is of course we have popular gallery furniture that's here, which is what we call him Mattress Mac, which is Jim McIngvale, and everybody in the world knows him because when we've had certain floods and everything, he comes out and he really helps the people. So, thank you for Mattress Mac, Jim McIngvale. I've met him before. I have his book. He signed it for me. Thankful for having good people like that here in Houston. The other thing I want to say about Houston is that we have some of the best businesses here. We have oil companies. We have everything like any other big city. I'm not saying we're the only one. I'm saying we just have such a variety of things here, which I think is so cool. But we are one of the most networking cities you have ever seen in your life. I know the first 5 years of me building my business, I was networking 2, 3, 4 times a day. And I'm not talking about on this computer like everybody do on Zoom, calling it in now. I'm talking about literally I get up every morning at 3 a.m. So by the time I'm done with my work, most people are just considering if their alarm is going to go off to wake them up. So I used to get up when I was still working, for myself, brand new, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and get all my work done by 7 or 8 o'clock, because sometimes I would have to get my work done by 5 because I have a 6 o'clock breakfast that I would go to for exclusive networking. Like you couldn't even get into this group unless you were initiated type of thing in, and it was for exclusive business development type thing. People who've been in business for a long time that would, kind of let you into the group if you were really doing a certain amount of business. And then, so by the time I do that, and then, there was something that would be like for brunch or lunch or something like that. Then there would be like a midday type of event. And then there would always be some kind of evening event. Even just here in Houston, my very first networking group that I joined was American Business Women Association. And it was one of the best and most fun. And I joined the chapter that was out in my area. So I literally could leave my house and go networking and be back in less than 2 hours. So I could go and network. And then by the time I get back, the kids, it'll be time for them to go to bed or whatever. They had somebody here with them. So we are one of the most networked cities you have ever seen in your life. I know other cities are networked as well, like your Atlantas and your Californias and your New Yorks and your Louisiana. I know they network, but I'm telling you, Houston is one of the out networking cities I have ever been in my life. And I have been to all of those other cities. And I have, because one thing about me, on business travels, I would go to meetup.com. I don't even know if Meetup is still up there, but I would go to meetup.com and I would put the zip code in of where I'm going to be. And then I would find out what other business events were happening. And then I would sign up and go, because Meetup, you could go to the events for free and all of that, meet people, network. And I would take one of my books with me and, sell them or either give away as a door prize or just whatever to be able to be remembered, because that's the thing. You want to show up, you want to be impressive, and you want to be remembered. So you don't just show up empty-handed to anybody's anything, but then also you want to make sure that they remember you. So, Houston is one of those things. I can tell you something that Houston has taught me. Houston has taught me that if you're from a city this big, you have no business being prejudiced against anybody, because anybody and everybody is going to be in your face at some point. So you have no business not liking any group of people, no matter what their race is, what their creed is. We have some of the best churches here, whether they're mega churches or not. We have some of the best churches here. We just really have an overall really, really wonderful city. I know that you've probably seen our city on the news because we do have floods from time to time. We do have storms from time to time. But what I've learned about that is that every city has its thing. Some cities freeze over. We even had that a couple of years ago. Fluke never happened in my lifetime, but we had it just a year or two ago. Some cities have, over-exhausting heat. Yeah, we get hot here as well. There are some cities, they don't flood, but maybe they have an earthquake. We don't have earthquakes, but a few years ago, Dallas did have one, something about the equator and something else. I don't know what the deal on that was, but they literally have had a couple of earthquakes. Other thing I love about this city is that we have a city that is near an international airport. Two of them, actually. We have two international airports. We have Bush Intercontinental, and then we have Hobby Airport. The reason that is so important is just the other day, I was talking to a lady that's in an area in Alabama that has no international airport, and she will have to go all the way to Birmingham to catch an international flight. So what it looks like is this in the end. For me to go from my house to Mexico, I could go for under $100 round trip. If she was going to meet me in Mexico, she's going to have to catch a ride an hour and a half away. If that's an Uber, that's a lot of money. If somebody got to drive her, they ain't going to be happy to pick her up or drop her off. So she got to get all the way to the airport, pay somebody to do that, probably going to be $50 to $70. Then she's going to get on a flight over there. Her flight, when we looked it up, was $274 up to $351, depending on which airline she wanted to go. And that did include Spirit, and anybody going Spirit. Anyway, one note. We did go Spirit this year, and it wasn't bad. We didn't die. I can't tell you what happened that was funny, because I've already told you on another show, but it was not bad. So for her to meet me in Mexico, it's only going to cost me under $100 to meet her there. For her to meet me there, it's going to cost her upwards of almost $400. So again, it's important to be in a big city that is also near two choices of airports, or at least to have one, because she doesn't even have one. And so I love that about Houston, that we have two international airports. I think Hobby has only been an international airport now for maybe the last 5 years or something like that. I remember when they were first building the international wing, because I think I went to Tulum, Mexico or something, right when they were building the international. And, the first thing my daughter said is, "Oh, they have a Chick-fil-A." And I'm like, okay. And it was real nice and real clean and very, very, very pristine over there. But we've been on Hobby a couple times international now, and the rest, it's been Bush Intercontinental, which I never used to fly Bush. But that's our 713 show for you today. So when you get a chance, celebrate with us. 713. Now, I will give you a little tip that there are a lot of people that will have like events that they put online. So you may get to see some events online, which I think would be really, really, really cool. But happy 713 day. Happy 713 day. Happy 713 day. Happy 713 day. That's my 713 show for you today. And I thank you. And guess what? I'll see you again next year on 713 Day on this podcast. And I have even more things to tell you that I love about being a native Houstonian and that I love about having the original 713 zip code. I don't know why I'm so proud about that, but I tell you, I really, really am. That's our show for today. Make sure you support us on YouTube by subscribing, making sure that you are, if you have subscribed before, go in and just make sure that that button is still red, because sometimes it won't be red. You'll have to be like, I thought I subscribed there, but you may be on a different, you may be logged into a different account or something and don't know it. So if you got 10 accounts, subscribe 10 times. The other thing I want to say is if you'd like to support our podcast monetarily, it's $MDI podcast. And on Instagram, I think when I looked today, we were almost up to 14,700 people or something like that, or it could be more. But we are getting a lot of traction over on Instagram because I have been posting our shows everywhere, every day. I mean, I'm posting links everywhere, every day on, Facebook and on everywhere else, on other people talking to them about their podcast, and we collaborating with that. But our Instagram handle is going to be mother-daughter-ish_. And when you go there, we have a yellow banner that says mother-daughter-ish, and you can sign up right there. Say hi to us, give us a little hand wave or something like that. But that's my show today on 713. And put down in the comments and let us know how you're going to celebrate 713 if you are from the Houston area. And if you are not, and you're planning to come to Houston and you have questions about anything Houston related, feel free to put a comment down there and ask me if you want to know something about best places to get your hair done, place to get your makeup done. We have a lot of makeup artists here. If you want to know what's the best food, please ask me about Tex-Mex, because I got a list. Best places to shop if you're looking for something very specific. Best places to go out and have fun at nighttime. We have a bar here called Bar 5015. I can't wait to get over there. They have concerts. About a month ago, they had Michelle, and I was like, oh, they got people there that I can relate to. I know all the rappers and stuff go there, but I want to go on a night where there's somebody like Dougie Fresh or somebody that I can relate to. But in the Galleria area, there's literally so many clubs. We have Camp Houston for restaurants here. We have so many places. We have places in the hood that you can go to. And I know everybody and their mama, when they come to Houston, they go to the Turkey Leg Hut. So check out the Turkey Leg Hut, because everybody, every celebrity, every prominent person, anybody that's anybody and anybody that ain't nobody goes to the Turkey Leg Hut. And that is one of the things that we're very well known for. So I'm so glad about that couple who started the Turkey Leg Hut, because it does keep Houston on the map, if nothing else, because food, everybody wants to talk about that. But that's my show for today, and bye for now.
Hey, it's Miss Dawn. You wondering how you can support our show, Mother-Daughter-ish? We have CashApp, we have PayPal, and we do have Vimeo. Support our show so that we can reach out to more women. Our goal is to reach and build a community of 1 million women. Why don't you come on and help us do that? Wanting to book us for your show? It could be an expo. It could be any type of women's event. Contact Miller Booking Agency at mail.com. We're looking forward to meeting and greeting with you.